Another week done and dusted, 3 weeks down on the Premier League, loads to review once again. And I saw that comment last week that said 15 minutes kind of isn't long. I kind of agree. There are so many things to talk about, so many spin-off stories, so many different things happening here that we probably need a couple of hours really if we was going to do this properly. And once again this week throws up stories.
Yeah, 100%. I must admit, last night I absolutely loved watching it. And Jonny Clayton, the eventual winner, it was fantastic throughout. I had mentioned, I think previously in the other episodes, that he'd been pretty fantastic, especially in them round one games. And he was making sure he was getting them 2 points on the board. And then last night, he's gone on to win. And he's top of the table.
Yeah, it's crazy,
incredible.
isn't it?
Yeah.
The table's interesting, actually, before we get into the night, because how much have we heard constantly? Darts is getting boring. It's a Luke Littler domination. If it's not Luke Littler, it's Luke Humphries. They're not in the top four after 3 weeks, the pair of them.
Yeah, it's crazy, really. We all thought that they would definitely have got a win by now and definitely have made most of the finals. So that's really interesting. I think I'm still not worried. I'm really not worried about Luke Littler because actually I think he's got it in his locker to pull nightly wins out if he needs them. And as well, that extends to Luke Humphries, just to the base of the way Luke Humphries is playing. I think Luke Humphries is playing better than Luke Littler in the Premier League at the minute. I think he's been quite unlucky. I'm not going to say. I was going to say he's bottled those last, but he's not. He's missed like 3 darts at the end of a game, 6 darts here and there. It's not. It's not something to worry about. He's averaging over 100 most of the time. He's been absolutely fantastic as well. His 180 hitting's improving with those slightly longer points as well. And you think, how can he improve his 180 hitting? His Luke Humphries, but he has. It's incredible.
So we'll reel it down and we'll break this down through the individual stories. We've got to start with Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah, it's obviously not much to talk about. Obviously, for him last night, he's missed the night. Hopefully, he gets better soon. Hopefully, we don't see players miss because it is disappointing. You lose a game, and you don't like seeing people pick up 3 points. You know, it's not their fault, but you don't want people getting 3 points for argument's sake. You know, imagine if he was against Bunting last night or if he was against Josh Rock. Both of them sat on 0 points that have had 2 free points. So, yeah, you don't like it.
See, that's an interesting point in discussion as well, because I've had this quite a lot. People saying, should there have been a stand-in? You know, should Luke Littler have been awarded those points? Absolutely 100% Luke Littler should be awarded the points, because you've got to give him the opportunity.
Yeah.
You can't say, just because he's not coming, you haven't got a chance to win no points tonight. You can only win from further on.
I fully agree.
Have to do that. But... And this is fantasy booking. This probably couldn't happen for multiple of different reasons. So fantasy world... Imagine if for one night we brought back the contenders and in Glasgow you put Gary Anderson in to play Luke Littler in place of Michael van Gerwen. How great would that have been?
It would have been absolutely fantastic, and I agree with what he said that he definitely should have got the points. But I don't like it, but it's the right thing to do. Do you know what I mean? I don't want someone to get 3 points, but you have to do it. You know, because like you say, they've got to have the opportunity. And yeah, like say, you know, Gary Anderson up in Scotland, you know, for instance, local players, it would be absolutely fantastic as well. You'd back them as well. I don't know why, but I think you'd just get behind the one-off person. I'd heard another story as well that there should be a reserve. It made me think actually of the old Top Gear days where they always had this other car ready to go in case one of theirs broke down. So if a player broke down, that they have this spare player that like travelled round and was ready to slot in. But I don't think there's any
that
way
has happened before.
Yeah. Right.
So this isn't something that maybe is so publicly known, but like for example, when the Premier League was in COVID times,
right,
there was a 9th player in Milton Keynes ready should anyone fail the tests.
Right.
It happened as well down in the World Championships as well. There was reserve players there just in case that they came in. And there is always like a next in line. But I think with the Premier League, once it starts, that next in line's ignored and you've got to be 16 weeks or nothing. But again, I'm sure if you would have said at the start of the campaign when they were going, is it Stephen Bunting or is it Danny Noppert? There we go, we just peeled the curtain back a little bit and let you know the conversation that was between the 8th position. If they would have said to Danny Noppert, for example, look, you've not got in this time, you was player number 9 on the list, but if there's ever a week, just be ready. Because if someone pulls out, we're going to pull you in. You might get 3 weeks, you might get 4 weeks, you might get no weeks. But that would have been a good option, I think, as well. And I think it would have also yes, they've given him World Series events, but I think it would have helped blood him into what the Premier League is to see if he is ready for that campaign in a future season.
Just a quick one before we go off too much. Do you think he would have won a game yet? Do you think Danny Noppert? Do you think he would have any points?
3 weeks in, I would say. Well, to be fair, I don't know what my opinion is valid on that because I would have said Josh Rock would certainly have had points at this point. So
Yeah.
I'm shocked by that on the basis of what we saw from Josh Rock last year. So I would say Danny Noppert, yes, but it depends on who he'd have played. I think there's games I think he definitely could have won. I think there's games I wouldn't put in favourite at all.
It's interesting what you've just mentioned, about him being the ninth player, because, there was quite a few other players. There was Gary Anderson, there was Nathan Aspinall, there was James Wade. And I kind of wonder who then would have been the 10th, 11th. But we would obviously probably never know. But it's just interesting, isn't it? But yeah, Josh Rock, we've just mentioned him. No wins. I thought he would have had a win by now, 100%. I thought he'd have actually made a final, to be honest. I'm really surprised. Obviously, last week couldn't find his grip. He did mention about maybe washing his hands and having some. That's fair enough. So you can kind of write that off. But then there's been 2 other nights where he's not managed to win, and last night it wasn't even particularly close.
He's obviously not been watching my videos, has he? Because I do things like that on prepreparation, like when to go to the toilet, watch, and you'll get preparation right. Because it does. It is right. It might sound silly. It really, it might, to people that don't or haven't played at that sort of level where margins are so fine, it may sound so silly. But if you wash your hands quite late, you put them under the dryer, you lose the grip and you'll lose the feel of the dart in the hand.
It's a
So
change.
absolutely, absolutely,
it's a change. Yeah, you wouldn't change your equipment just before a match, so it's another variable you're changing. Yeah. So there's him and the Stephen Bunting. When do they play each other?
It's about week 6.
Right. Well, someone's getting points on week 6. Are they going to get any points in week 4 and week 5? That's going to be the big question. They need to, because we're at a point now where I feel we're having a 6 and a 2, and there's going to be a separation, to be honest. And that's not what we want to see. We don't want to be going into weeks and saying, oh, well, Luke Humphries has got a free win tonight. He's playing Stephen Bunting, or Luke Humphries is playing, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see the wheels fall off, but I think it's pretty close for at least one of them.
So I was doing commentary this week for the PDC on the ProTour, Monday, Tuesday in Wigan. I got to see a lot of Stephen Bunting.
Yep.
My word, did Stephen Bunting play well. There were so many times. He was 6-2 down in the semi-final to James Wade, turned it around 1-7-6 against James Wade. Whoever does that to him. He faced adversity quite a lot. He had to come from behind. He won games comfortably. All the questions that you'd ask, I want to see Bunting win like this. I want to see him play like that. He ticked all the boxes throughout that week.
Yeah.
Those 2 days. But that's the Pro Tour. Very, very different environment. So we're not saying Stephen Bunting isn't playing well, because he absolutely is. And when he transfers it to the Premier League, he still keeps that performance until that one key moment where you go, this has to go. Or if he gets this, he turns this around. There was a shot last night. If he'd have took it, he'd have had the throw and he'd have been back in control again. And he just seems to be missing that 1 or 2 dot. And that's how micromanaged the Premier League is. We're not talking about a performance over 20 minutes, because the majority of the time the players are going to cancel each other out. It's coming down to 1 shot or 2 darts, and right now he's just short on that 1 or 2.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it nerves? Is it? I just don't know. It's just not clicking, is it? It's carried on from last year into this year, and it's like this can't carry on for much longer, really. Because it just can't. Can it carry on like this? I don't know. I'm being by it. Yeah.
I'd say no, but at the moment, we're kind of being proved wrong here. We're saying, yes, he's performing well, it's going to change, but it hasn't yet.
Yeah.
So, again, jury's still out. I think speculation for me, purely, is I do think some of the negativity is getting to him, absolutely.
And it doesn't help us, people like us coming on here and having to talk about it, bringing it to... But you can't ignore it. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be as kind as possible when we're talking about, because like I say, his performances aren't horrendous. We just need him to step up in these big moments, a big clutch finish or something like that, just to spur him on, I think.
That's all it is. Just just those moments, because the margins are just so fine that we're talking individual darts now. That's all it is. So that's the bottom end of the table. But what's interesting for me, as we said at the start, everyone thought this was going to be Luke, and if anyone's going to hijack it, it's going to be Van Veen.
Yeah.
Well, actually, what we're seeing from the likes of Gerwyn Price over the last few weeks, 117 average on the Pro Tour, one Jonny Clayton, is they've gone, hang on a minute, how are we the forgotten guys? I'm a world champion. I've won the Premier League before, and you're ignoring us as if we're irrelevant to this. And all of a sudden, their levels have come up.
I must admit, I think Jonny Clayton's got it absolutely spot on so far. And that's it, just going out in that first game and making sure you get those 2 points, getting that first win, and then anything else. But I think if you get 2 points every week, you're more than clear. So it's the way to do it. If you pick up semi-final wins, which he hadn't done, he was close, but then obviously last night he went all the way and won the whole thing. So it's like a bonus points, really. And absolutely fantastic for him. And it was hard for him last night to get past Gerwyn Price. He'd not beaten him in a long time. And it was a big win. You know, Gerwyn Price has looked good. Every time Gerwyn Price has lost, he's looked good, in my opinion, to be honest. It's been a pretty close match. So them two, at the moment, you're like, well, who's going to knock them out? Who's knocking them two out of the top four?
Yeah, it's a tough one to see at the moment. So this is when the Premier League's exciting up. And I think the thing that helps Jonny Clayton, his mentality.
Yeah.
Because where we're talking about Luke Humphries, who's going, right, I want to try and find that 1% more so I can really control things. When we're talking about Bunting under pressure, when we're talking about all these different aspects and things that are going on for people, Jonny Clayton, if you haven't met Jonny Clayton, by the way, guys, here's a little insight to you. He is the most relaxed dart player at elite level you'll ever find, ever. I literally was in a taxi with him for about 30 minutes the other day, and all I ever heard from him was comments like, well, darts is just a hobby. Darts is just a pastime. To him, he's just the last of the pub generation of, I play darts, it's a good laugh, I enjoy myself, and I just happen to be good at it. He doesn't realise, one, how good he is, two, his position in the world. He doesn't realise where he is right now. He doesn't realise how important and how big of a role he plays in the world of darts. To him, it's just, this is great, this is good fun, this. That's why he worked for so long.
I think he could do with passing a bit of that mentality on to Stephen Bunting, because it feels like he's carrying so much on his shoulders. So yeah, that's it. It's maybe going up there and playing with freedom, just enjoying it, and that's showing. He's top of the table.
That was something that me personally really worked out when I took darts full time, when I went professional with darts. So I started playing on the tour like 2011, but I didn't go professional until about 2017. I had 6 years where I was still working alongside, and then I ended up just working like 2 or 3 hours a week, like really dropped it down to take darts professionally. And that is something you realize when you do that, because the reason you picked a set of darts up for the first time, the reason anyone watching this picks a set of darts for the first time, because it's fun. It's enjoyable. And what you do, you start playing and you go, I'm actually quite good at this. I'm starting to win things. I'm starting to do all right. This is great fun. Now the challenge and the fun becomes about what can I do? And then when it becomes a job, it sort of changes completely, because you lose what you picked a set of darts up for the first time. You start playing this because it's a game, because it's fun. And then all of a sudden you're micromanaging, trying to work out 1 or 2 darts and how to find that level over the tiniest of margins of a dartboard. And absolutely, you do have to find, where is the enjoyment in what I'm doing, because this is a privilege of a job and a privilege of an opportunity to get up there and do these performances. But at the same aspect, you need to remember that the enjoyment, and you've got to go back to that child, that inner child who sat there watching it wherever you watched it. I went to the Winter Gardens at Blackpool and I watched it and I was in awe of it. And you've got to go back to that child sat in the audience and realise you're living a dream, not a nightmare. And right now it feels a little bit like potentially that nightmare's kicking in.
Yeah, whilst we were on that, I will say I was watching last night and I was like, Jan van Veen, he looks like he's out there enjoying himself. He looks like he's just loving it. I know some of his darts weren't his best darts last night, and he still did fantastic. But in all of his interviews and everything like that, it just looks like he's buzzing to be there and just relishing the moment and enjoying his darts. And he's doing really well. So again, that's probably working for him as well. And I was comparing that to Luke Humphries again, who is playing. We've said he's playing fantastic, but Luke Humphries, I don't know. It seems like a little bit of the spark has just gone out for him a little bit. But he seems to play so robotically, which works for him. But I know that doesn't work with some people. You know, like when Michael van Gerwen's not playing at his best, and I know he's playing some of his better darts recently, but when we'd seen him struggling a little bit, it just didn't look like he was enjoying it. There wasn't much emotion when he was hitting a big one. And I think, like I said, it was Jonny Clayton, Jan van Veen, both look like they're loving it, enjoying it, and they're playing so freely.
So, question time. Question for you, question for our viewers. Let us know down in the comment section. I'm not going to say, when does Luke Littler win for the first time? When does a Luke win a week for the first time? I'm going to give you two players. So we're on week 3 now. How much longer do we have to wait for what we expected to see, a Luke in the winner's enclosure?
Yeah, that's fantastic. We also had the question of when we're going to get a duplicate winner. You said week 4, so
Yes.
we'll find that out next week. And I said week 5. So I'm not too sure. I tell you what, I'm just looking forward to seeing Van Gerwen playing again, see if he's carrying on this form. So I'm really looking forward to his first match next week to see if he can carry it on. Because if he does, then, you know, he's going to be remaining probably in that top 4 position. So, interesting. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Who is going to win next week? Are we going to get a duplicate winner? Are we going to get a Luke? Who knows?